Okay, great. So let's begin. So we're gonna begin the session. We could just rub our hands a little bit, to get some blood flow. And we could just put our hands on our chest, or we could actually, hold our hands as long as we have that touch. And just take a few deep breaths. And just get centered. You could run any positive thoughts, any appreciation, or anything that you are grateful for at this given moment. Any good thought that pops into your mind, just catch it and bring it to your heart and let it just resonate. And with every breath, just see that energy of that thought for whatever you are grateful for Hashem giving you in your life. Just going deeper and deeper into your whole being. Just breathe that energy into your heart. And letting go of any stressful situations that you might have had throughout the day, week, month. And let Hashem take care of it. And resolve it in the most peaceful way. And let all that negative energy that was accumulated for all these years, as we're reaching the end of the year, completely dissolve into the ayin and become completely nullified, as if it never existed before. Okay. Beautiful. So we could begin. I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, do you see the mimer? So if you have your booklets, you could look up in your booklets. Michal, I was trying to drop it off by your husband, but I wasn't able to. He wasn't there. So I have your booklet with me. Carry it with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll continue trying to follow somehow with, just with the class.
Okay, I'll try. I tried to scan it, but it's too many pages for my scanner to hold, so it kind of like dismisses it. So I'll try to go to YNB and just scan it and keep it on our drive, so you could view it until I try him tomorrow or whatever. Okay, so last week we actually again, we still have those beginning questions, right? Beginning questions. And we spoke about that level of Yechida, even higher than Yechida by everybody in Israel. And which is higher than the Chachma of the soul, right? When you debekes mimela acharei Elokim chayim, right? We gave that analogy that the neshama automatically connects and runs after the living God. And the analogy that he was giving, it's like the nitzut, right? Nitzut is the spark that's actually, follows the fire. And this aspect is also called Yisrael, right? So that's when we say Shema Yisrael, we're truly awakening that level. Now, we're going to start from the beginning of this, of this. Ach inyan, right? The idea of the Ava, ach inyan ha'ava, sheneimar b'derech tzivui, right? And if we think about Ava, it's actually commanded, right? The love is commanded. The love of God, Hashem is commanding us. That comes after the Mesiras Nefesh of Shema Yisrael. What does this mean? Hainu lahamshich hargasha zois. What this means is that we need to draw down this sense, this feeling, in the aspect of midas, of the nefesh elokis. Right? And the midas, right, the emotions of the godly soul, they are enclosed in the midas of the animal soul. Asher mishkanam hu belev basar chitzoni. The dwelling place is in the external aspect of the heart of flesh. Right? What does this mean? That it explains in Tanya that our heart has two parts, a right and left chamber. Well, it actually has 4 chambers, but left and right. Now, in the right chamber, that's where the nefesh elokis dwells, the godly soul. And in the right right chamber is the nefesh elokis, and in the left chamber is the nefesh hativis. And that's actually the left chamber, the one that has the most blood pumping, right? So that's the actual hype of the whole emotional thing that a nefesh habahamis has. Nefesh habahamis is a very impulsive and very, I would say, pleasure-seeking personality, right? It's here to live this world and live this in a full-fledged thing, right? So that's why it's mainly manifests in the left side of the brain, of the heart. Sorry. Okay, right? And in order to draw down that awareness that right now we had by Shema into our heart, that will require avodah. Right? The avodah in his mind and in his heart, but his boinanus rabbis, in the multiple of, in a lot of meditations, be'elokus, into godliness. Why he needs to do that? In order to bring closer the godly ideas into his brain. Al yidei ribul mashalim v'hizberim, through different explanations and different mashalim. Okay, v'al yidei zeh yitpashta hamidis hanefesh elokis milavushem. Right? Through this, they're going to manifest the midas of the nefesh elokis from their garments. V'yidgalu me'elma. And they're going to be revealed from the concealment. Lehispayel b'tshuka nifla, to have the hispailos with a great longing, leimashech acharei elokus, to be drawn down after the godliness. Right? So from here, we actually see something very interesting. If we want to call that conclusion, is that his boinanos, the meditation, has the goal. What's the goal of meditation? Is to be drawn after the godliness. That's the goal of meditation, right? The goal of meditations is not self-awareness. It's not self-fulfillment and all these beautiful things, right? The main goal of meditation, Hasidic meditation, is to be drawn after godliness. Now, when we drawn after godliness, we also have side effects of being self-fulfilled and whatever, all the other stuff that we just mentioned. Okay, Vigilu and that revelation of godliness, who belev basar chitzoni, is the external part of the heart. V'nikra pulchana derechimnusa, and it's called pulchana derechimnusa. Okay, I don't know that translation in Aramaic. V'hu avoda rabba b'yis nafshay, and this is the great avoda in the exertion of his soul. Leimashech mi'atzmus ha'elam, to be drawn down from the essence of the concealment of the Yechida. And this is very interesting. This is a very interesting level, which is he mentioning here, specifically, if you have the text, you could underline it, that this is the level which is higher than the Yechida, right? Which is the Atzmus of the concealment of the Yechida, of the soul, Lidei Gilui, into revelation, Belev Basar Chitzoni, into the external part of the heart, meaning from the highest of high into the lowest of low. And the reason why he needs to do the Yigia, right? The person might ask a question. Okay, didn't you just say that everybody from the Yidden has this level already? So what's the Avodah? Why do I need to work hard? I already have it. Yeah, do we have that question? Why we need to work hard? Okay, right? That every one of the Jews, right? That whenever he hears anything, anything about godliness, he automatically gonna get excited. Okay, so what's the story? And here,
last week you commented and you said Yagia Rabbah in the time of the Mittler Rebbe was a totally different amount of work.
Yeah, for sure.
Now
for sure.
that you said that now we're in a time where
It's not that much work. The veil is definitely thinning. Before, come on, what they had to do all kinds of sigufim. They had to fast. We know Reb Shmuel Munkis, right? He was the chassid of the Alter Rebbe. He had to sit. They found him with ants were biting him and all these things. Okay, now, no, that's all. It's all done already. That work is done already. We don't have to go through all these things. However, it's still a yigia, as we see right now, right? Some of us have it, some of us don't. Some of us get it, some of us don't. There are some people who just get it 1, 2, 3, and there are some people who's having a hard time with it. Is it changing the perception? Right. Now, it's not only that we need to draw down the light. It looks like from older generations, they had to also elevate the matter, right? The world was chumri. The matter wasn't refined. The materialistic matter wasn't refined. Now, the Rebbe said it's all refined now. The world is transparent. We are ready. We have all the kelim. All kelim are there. The light is there. Everything is there. So we basically waiting for just a little shift in our mind, little adjustments in our mind. That's just my humble opinion. Because from Tafshin and Aleph, Tafshin and Beis Sichos, the Rebbe said how many times that he doesn't even know why the Geula is not here, right? So why it's not here, I have no idea. But I just feel like, what can we do? in my opinion, that we need to shift like little things in our mind, in our brain patterns, from thinking Golus into thinking Geula. It's literally, I believe it's just literally adjustments in our mind, not even our heart, because everything is just there. Okay.
Sorry, one more comment. And what I said about, the wedding and Hashem, made sure I, and that I'm tired of the old, oh no, what if, and like, what if I have to run the world by myself? So the only thing is, I really have to say, I know what I want to do to really feel very safe knowing that Hashem is running everything. I'm not quite sure how to step into that. I know I want it, but I don't really know how to do the shift from Golus to Geula of, micromanaging every detail to I'm totally safe, Hashem is taking care of it. So I don't know how to do it.
Okay, I'm sure we'll get there. If you ask that question, right, I'm sure your frontal lobes are busy right now answering that by gathering all the information from everything what you've known, what you've heard, because truly we all know that nothing is forgotten, right? We don't forget things. We may not necessarily pay attention to them, but we don't forget things. And it's all stored in our memory bank. So yeah, our frontal lobes are going to be very, very busy answering these open-ended questions. How should I do this? How this would look like, etc., etc. Okay, let's just move on into the text. V'yuven al pi hayidua, right? And there are two concepts that we're going to be discussing now, that there are two types of Helam, two types of concealment, right? Because right now we really would like to know, why is our essence is still concealed? Okay. The first one is the essential concealment. That's something which is being concealed because this is holy and exalted and separated. And it's being removed from the Geder, from the description, from this boundary of Gilui, because Gilui is also a specific boundary, has a specific limitation, right? For example, right, the radio waves, right, could be revealed only when there's a keli, when there's a vessel that goes with it, right? Let's say I don't have a radio wave. I'm sorry, I'm just going to get till Nunavav, right? Let's say I don't have a radio thing, then I won't be able to benefit from this light, right? From those waves. So the same thing is if I don't have an internet connection, meaning the internet is here, is everywhere.
That's really great. As soon as you said that, somebody's internet connection went off, maybe mine. That's so cute.
Nope.
Anyone
Must
hear
be
me?
Mila's. Must be Mila's.
What? Isn't that cute? As soon as she said, if you don't have an internet connection, Hashem illustrated it by turning off the internet connection, or like by something, the system went down. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
it's so
Great.
Had
I
to
love
be.
it.
Had
It
to
was
be.
like illustration of the mind on the spot. right? You
This
say
is
the
crazy.
sentence and it comes into being. Wow.
This is crazy. What just took place?
Just par for
just
the
talked about
course,
it, right?
par for the course.
Oh my gosh, I was cracking up. I was like, oh my gosh, as I'm speaking.
Right, exactly.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we just experienced it, right?
Right.
not
Exactly.
not having that connection, and it's just like boom, gone. And all of a sudden now we are Kalim, right? And then it's just being broadcasted. Okay, great. Now, not that it was an obstacle, right? Well, in our situation, there was an obstacle, right? Now, base hu b'chinas helem hane'elam, right? And the other one is helem hane'elam, right? And this is the two terms that we're going to be writing down. Okay, so if you have like piece of pen and paper, there's helem atzmi, right? This is an essential concealment. And then there is helem hane'elam. Right? Meaning concealed concealment. Now, the Helem Atzmi is I am concealed not because there is nothing, there's something that's preventing me. I'm concealed because, okay, I'm concealed, I'm just hearing myself an echo, so I muted somebody, I'm not sure who that was. Okay, I'm concealed because there is nothing that could broadcast my energy. That's why I'm concealed. Okay, now the second type of concealment is that because there's actually something that's preventing me from being revealed. Okay, that's actually something. For example, if I'm gonna go back to my Russian doll right here, she's right here. Okay, let's say I'm gonna put this piece of paper, right? I'm just gonna crunch it up and I'm gonna put it here. And I'm gonna close it. Right now, that piece of paper is concealed here inside. Right? Why is it concealed? My eye could see it. My eye is a Kaylee. You could see it, meaning if I'm opening it up, right? Everybody could see this piece of paper, meaning it could be broadcast, right? But it's concealed because of this doll that's preventing me from seeing it, from having this gilui. Okay, that's a second type of concealment. I'm unable to see it because there is something that's preventing it, right? Now, I'm not able now to listen to radio, not because there's something is blocking it, but because I don't have a Kaylee to get connected to that. That's Helem Atzmi. This is Helem Hanelam, right? Okay, so we got the idea. If anybody has a question, maybe somebody has a better mashal for this or a different mashal, because the mashalim, they do what? They bring it closer to our brain. The more mashalim we give to a particular concept, the more we bringing it closer to our brain. And our brain is very important because as we realize through River of Change, everything goes through our brain. Brain is our main Kaylee. Brain is like, well, if we're not affecting our brain, then everything is just going to be, and that's it. Okay, so Saratoga, you're great with mashalim. You want to give a mashal to these two types of elam?
No, I nothing comes to mind.
Nothing comes to mind. Okay. Now, we have two levels of our soul, right? We have our yechida level, our essence, and then we have our nefesh elokis. Now, it's interestingly, But whenever you learn Chassidus B'derech Prat in details, it seems that the Rebbeim make a distinction between our Yechida, right? Our essence of the soul. It's, that level of the essence of the Yechida and all that, and the rest of the levels of our godly soul, right? And it seems that these two types of Helem that we just discussed go to these two types of level of our soul, right? What do we mean? That why in the world the Yechida is not being revealed? Not because of this, that there is an obstacle that prevents, right? No. For Yechida, there is absolutely nothing that stands in her way. She could just go in and out and reveal itself on any level where the person is. However, for the godly soul, right, there are obstacles. For example, the coarseness of the nefesh habahamis, of the animal soul, really bothers nefesh Elikis. She's like, oh my gosh, I cannot reveal myself next to this animal soul. Oh my gosh, she's eating. Oh my goodness, she's eating food. This is ridiculous. Like, oh my goodness, like she's into all these things, all this worldly matters. And who cares about them? There's a God in the world. All what I want to do is being connected to this God. And she's like dragging me into who knows what. I don't feel home. I cannot reveal myself in front of this person. She's going to laugh at me. Yeah, does that make sense? Meaning there is something that prevents me from revealing my midas, right? And that is, I don't know, the nefesh habahamis making a bunch of sins. She's not behaving appropriately. She's behaving like an animal, and she's completely unrefined. And it's like, oh my goodness, I don't even want to deal with this lady. Okay, and therefore the nefesh Elikis feels uncomfortable. She cannot reveal herself in the presence or through the garment of the nefesh habahamis, of our natural or animal soul, whichever one you want to call it, right? So that is Helem Hanelam, right? That's the when the neshama cannot express itself because there's an obstacle, which is in our case would be the animal soul, right? However, interestingly, for nefesh, for the yechida, for the essence of the soul, nothing stands. Meaning, the aveiros of the person, the behavior, the animalistic tendencies, the insecurities, the traumas, and all these things completely do not take place from the essence perspective. She's so above it, she's like, I couldn't care less what you had. I know God to such an extent that all your traumas, all your depressions, everything means nothing to me. Because I see, when I look down, I see only God. I don't see anything of this. It doesn't exist. Okay? So now let's read that in text. Again, please stop me if you feel like, oh my gosh, this is getting too intense. Okay, Vehina legabe bechinas hayechida. Yeah, we're right here. And here, pertaining to the level, this aspect of the yechida, shehu ava mesuteres, right? This is concealed love, right? Shebenekudas pnimius alev. And look at the wording, right? That is situated, right, in the inner point of the heart. Shulemala afilu mebechinas hasaga, which is higher than any comprehension. Ragabechinas devekus, that only the aspect of this attachment, limashech kinitzutz, shubechinas hativi, right? This is this natural state of being of this yechida. It's like going after the flame, right? Like this little spark going after the big flame. It's natural. It's not a conscious process. Okay, ein shum davar hamastir. There's absolutely nothing that conceals. Ki ein halevushim, the nefesh hativis, tovsi mogam bebchina zois de yechida. Because these levushim of the animal soul completely do not take place on this level of the yechida. And therefore, they do not even hide the light of yechida. They don't have that capacity. They're like dust. They're like nothing. From the yechida standpoint, she doesn't even see the nefesh habahamis. She doesn't exist. The nefesh habahamis is non-existent. There is no aveira. Okay. Isn't it that's cool? So there is this aspect of our soul that's completely untouched by anything that we do here. Right? I'm talking about not positive. What? What was that, Michal? Okay. Now, if it's such a high level, such a lofty level, that Nefesh HaBahamis does not conceal it, why is it concealed? But nevertheless, that light is an aspect of Helam, because it's holy and exalted, migeder his galut, right? From the geder, right? From this, from that revelation, bekli hamayach, in the brain and in the heart. Why is it? It's because the brain and the heart, they don't have tools, they're not equipped, so quote, to sustain that light. Okay? Now, however, it's not like that on the aspect of nefesh, ruach, and neshama, right? We're all aware, like, I don't want to skip, we have 5 levels of the soul. Okay, now, the 3 lower levels, which is nefesh, ruach, and neshama, now, huma sheyesh l'chol echad ve'echad miYisrael, right? Now, the nefesh, ruach, and neshama, it's by all the Yidden, which is what? This is the chush, this is the sensitivity to grasp and have feelings, right? To have this aspirus and excitement and have just being, frumkas tivis, right? Being like a basic frumkeit, right? To be like a mensch, a basic human requirement into godliness, right? Meaning we could automatically sense, it's like a natural thing for us to sense godliness. Okay, nitfosim b'kli hamoach v'alev. They could be grasped in the brain and in the heart. These 3 levels, right? By the way, don't get confused. I'm going to do this little chart for you, so it will be nice and neat, right? Because we are talking a lot about different levels, so don't feel overwhelmed.
Mila, we all have those levels. You're talking about these levels, and I'm thinking, oh boy, who are they talking about? I don't know, but we're talking about everybody.
Oh, for sure, everybody has this.
I just though I'm not. I can't say I'm in touch with that level. That's so much higher. But I guess
it's
my
all
feels it.
One second.
To the Eibishter?
Faggy,
How does it manifest
right
itself?
Here. Very good. You see your heart, right? There was a big chassid, I forgot what's his name was. He said, Atzilus is not up there, it's here. Everything is here. All the worlds are within the person. Okay, what you see on the most external one, you see me, what I'm touching right here, right? This is the most external aspect of me. But everything is within me. All the levels. From the most, you see everything that's on me right now, this Gashmias, right?
Yeah.
All my ruchnias is within me. It's not somewhere who knows where, right?
So it manifests itself when I feel it's, say, like a drawing closer to the Eibishter, or when I'm down.
For sure.
Okay, so that's when it sort of comes. I'm thinking like, whoa, no, who are they talking about? Everybody else is feeling it. What about me?
Yeah, what I'm
Okay.
trying to say is that I gave last time the analogy of this circuit, right? When they
Right.
do this, this type of presentation, right? When it's completely
mhm.
dark and when they stick out one hand and the whole projectors are on that one hand, right?
Right.
And all what you see is that hand moving. Now that just draws your attention. This is what's the way the revelation is. But that doesn't mean that the whole human being is not behind it. Right? That
Good
player
analogy.
is
Yes,
there.
yes,
But
thank
you could just see
Yeah.
only the hands. That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes when we are into intellectual pursuit, we all of a sudden see the revelation of the brain, of the mind, of the chachma, of the bina, whatever that is, right?
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean I don't have a heart. It's just that your attention is there. And therefore, that's what you're able to see,
Good. Okay, so I
right?
got it. I have it. in
Okay.
me.
So
Yes,
let's say if
yes,
I'm
thank you.
experiencing an intense emotion right now, right? Let's say, I don't know, like this Yom Kippur, I'm going to be like, wow, right? My heart is going to be jumping from love and fear of God. That doesn't mean I don't have Chachma, Bina, Das, and all these levels. It's just that's what's being revealed in me right now. That's is what the most sensed and the felt level. And therefore, my attention is there. But that doesn't mean I don't have the rest of the things that I don't. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I just want to know how I could sort of reveal it more within myself. But
That we don't know. We don't
I'm getting
go there yet.
excited. You're getting me excited. Oh my gosh, I really
Okay,
have
great.
it
So
in me.
then
How could
you go on a quest, so then just embrace it. It's like, oh my goodness, Hashem,
yeah, like you said, feel the
reveal this
discomfort.
into me. Now you
Right,
know what to
feeling the
ask for.
discomfort.
Right.
Yes, like you said, when you feel the discomfort, then you're going to want to jump higher and move forward. So this is
Yeah, you're like,
discomfort.
it's boring. Yeah. I mean, you don't want to have the same Yom Kippur that you had last year. It's boring.
Exactly. And you're inspiring me. Great.
I mean, take me. That's what it is, what is, there's a famous mimer that I love learning, right? Pull me, right? What was it? I remember learning it with Rabbi Jacobson, alav shalom. That was really beautiful. Mashcheni acharecha narutza. Mashcheni, right? That we asking Hashem to pull me. Mashcheni acharecha, right? Pull me after you. And that's something that we really want Hashem to do. Sometimes like, okay, like I'm stuck, pull me. Do like when we are in a relationship, like you want Hashem just like, to push you a little bit, right? Or to pull you, whatever it is, so then we recognize like, oh, there's a God in the world. I'll run after you. Like, so that relationship, like, being pulled and recognizing like, oh, Hashem is pulling, and okay, so let's run. It's like sometimes, when a kid, I had this toddlers. I mean, listen, my kids, they got this busy mother, I play with my kids, but it's not like, I'm crazy sitting all the time on a floor playing. And sometimes like, the kid will come and just put a toy in your hands. Like, come on, play with me. You're all busy there.
Anila dodi v'dodi li.
Exactly.
Is coming to us, but we're also making, the effort.
Exactly. And it's the most rewarding part is that when you see Hashem's like, no, come, come.
Yes.
What are you doing there? Now, is it always an excitement? Is it always like, I'm on high and I'm on fire and doing all these beautiful things? No, sometimes, Hashem, makes Purim to us, meaning I'm not there. My name is not even mentioned. All what you see is this world running on its own, seems to run on its own, find me here, right? He plays this game, or sometimes he just showers you with revelation. That's why we have Pesach, that's why we have Tishrei, that's why we have all this beautiful Yomim Tovim. We have Hanukkah, we have Purim, we have this, we have that. And ultimately, they're all happening simultaneously within the year, within every single day. Every single day we have Yom Kippur, we have Rosh Hashanah, we have Hanukkah, Purim, Matan Torah, and all that, right? It's just they get also spread out throughout the year for us to work on certain aspects that we actually have those revelations every single day.
Is it more powerful on that day of the Yontif?
For sure, but that's from where we get koyach to do it on a daily level, right? For example, b'chol dor vador, right? That a person should see himself on a daily level that they're going out of Mitzrayim. What are we living already? How many times can we live Mitzrayim, right? So what's the answer to that question? Why every day I have to come out of Mitzrayim? I went out yesterday already. Why should I go out
And
now?
a different level, and it's a different level. Now I've gotten a much, like I just said right now. Now I feel so inspired. I'm going to be jumping on a different level right now. I'm going to get closer.
Okay, so you jumped. Why you need to come out of it tomorrow?
To go to a higher level, to get to another step. It's
Right,
close.
because the Geula of today becomes Mitzrayim of tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. You said it. Oh, wow, good. Thank you. I like that. Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay. So how about the Nefesh Ruach and Neshama? Shema sheyesh l'chol echad miYisrael chush hasaga v'ispailus. Okay, we did that. Okay. Ve'im yuven inyan hanal. Okay. Now, I think we're just going to stop here because then, okay, so now we understand that there's two levels of concealment and that there's a concealment of, let's just remember we are on Nun Vav in the middle of the page, right? Okay. Oh, you did not see all these pages. Oh my gosh, I feel so, okay, whatever. I guess when we had that glitch, my shared screen wasn't there. Okay. So, so there's these levels of Hela, right? And why I feel excited after I learned this piece is that when I know that there is this level that will never get defiled by any impurity, right? Although we learned already 2 weeks ago in the Sikha, 3 weeks ago, in our the Samoichin Sikha, right? That truly by our generation, there is no chet, there is no avera. It's only a chisaron. These are the Rebbe's words. Remember, who remembers that? Yeah, remember that there was no avera? Everybody's quiet because you don't believe them? Like, oh my goodness. I missed Kriyat Shema yesterday, right? How could that not be an avera? Well, because it's a chisaron, right? And the chisaron of the awareness. And, by gaining that awareness, we no longer have that chisaron, but it's not an actual avera. So I feel, contemplating on this idea, this Rosh Hashanah, that there's an aspect of me which is beyond any limitation. There is no limitation. Absolutely nothing, unstoppable, right? And this whole idea that, our unrefinement, stopping the revelation of our neshama is only pertaining to the last 3 levels of the neshama, not to the ultimate level of the neshama, which is our essence. Okay. This is going to be my Rosh Hashanah. So join me in asking Hashem to reveal this level. Are we being disconnected again, or are we good? Can I see your beautiful faces? No? Are we disconnected?
No, it seems like it's all good.
It's all good. Okay,
I think
great.
so.
Okay, beautiful.
We're-
So,
we're- I just
Thank you
love
so
the last thing
much.
you said about the fact that it's not an Avera. It's like it's a growth place. It's we have to feel guilty. Rosh Hashanah, there's no walking there feeling guilty, right?
no, we don't feel guilty. It's not a Hasidic.
No, but I'm saying what you just
celebrating Rosh Hashanah.
taught, whatever I left out. If I didn't say Kriya Shema yesterday, as you said, it's a chesaron that I learned from to go higher, right? It's not.
Hey, it was a chisaron of the awareness, because if you had that awareness of God, you wouldn't have missed.
Is that like sort of like when the soldiers, the soldier that fell asleep, and he said, if you would have, have the siren in your mind, you would never fall asleep. You wouldn't be tired or something. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is, yeah, but doesn't come from an avera. It doesn't come from an evil inclination to go against Hashem. That doesn't exist in our generation
That's
anymore.
the difference. That's the difference. I hear.
The Rebbe says that we all go in together to Nokshel Nishba. You know this? To Nokshel Nishba. It's like a child in captivity. It's like, what does this mean? It's an awareness. It's it's like, it's not that people, there are evil people in our generations who bedavka want to go against Hashem. The Rebbe is like crossing that possibility out. We don't have these people in our generations. Now, you're all going to say, oh, but there's Pliny Almaini and this, Plinius Almainis and this and this and there, there's all evil people out there and all. I don't believe in this. Does it seem that way? Yes. But it seems that the Rebbe is saying absolutely something different. We don't even have to put that into account, that there are these evil people who are trying to take over the world, right? It's everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. And I am refusing to believe that.
That's about Yidden or Goyim as well.
Everybody, I don't care. The Rebbe said that the world is completely purified. What kind of evil people are we talking about? Now, could it be that it seems that way? Yeah. But is it that way? No. The world is purified.
Like the Rebbe said, okay. And like the Rebbe said about the Yidden being like a Rimon. Every Yid, no matter what, is a Rimon, Malev Godosh.
Right. Right. Now, could it be that my eyes are showing me this like evil, seemingly person who's trying to hurt this, to hurt that? Yeah. Not saying that it's everybody's like appears to be a tzaddik. No, it's not. But when we defy taking the world the way it appears into our eyes and say like, but in reality it's not like that. Truly, there isn't evil in the world. Then we reveal that, the reality, because that seems to be from Tafshin and Aleph, Tafshin and Beis Sichis. This is the true reality. There is no evil.
So I would like to say, in my opinion, maybe yes, maybe no. I know what you're. I know what you're. How do I know what you're basing it on? I know what you're saying, and I know the things the Rebbe is saying, and definitely there is no evil among Yidden. To say that there's no evil being perpetrated among Goyim, I guess I would need to. I feel like it's a bit of a stretch of all like let's see it in the sources, and it's more than just a one-liner, because the difficulty is that in Nun Aleph Nun Beis, the Rebbe gave a lot of one-liners that then we have to conclude from that what it means. So I feel like maybe it's true that there are no more evil people, and maybe it's not. I'm not sure.
I think it also depends on Pneumius. When we're talking about, it's like, when there's a people, they just like bad and evil people, like Pneumius evil. I think with so much avoda of Mashiach and the Yidden and Torah and mitzvahs for generations, countless Mesiras Nefesh, and it's done already. Like it's not the same level. Does that make sense? Like it's literally not the same level of the previous generations, Roshayim, to our generation.
Well, the Rebbe discusses
Nice.
about the concept of tsaras, that
Right.
all the tsaras is on the surface, and it's on the outside of the skin. You kind of have to blow it off. So yes, that's the way the evil is. Are there people who are intrinsically evil? I don't know what the definition of evil is, by the way. So it's a good question. If I knew, then I could decide if there are people who are intrinsically evil or not. But I'm not exactly
But I
sure.
don't think, Sarah, though, it's up to us to decide because
100% right.
right, how do we know? I mean, literally,
Right.
you ask me, like, look at this person, is he evil? I mean, who am I to judge this reality?
Right.
How am I supposed to know who is evil, who's not? I mean, he definitely appears to be like that, but can I vouch 100% that this guy is evil and this guy is a tzaddik? Who am I to say that?
Right.
Like, I'm not at the level where I could judge people like that. Oh, does that mean that I have to invite everybody into my house and be friends with everybody? No, if I don't feel comfortable with somebody, I'm not inviting them to my house. Do you know? Like that
Right.
just, so we obviously need to put everything into right perspective. And we need to, have the safety boundaries that we have. But, hypothetically, what are we thinking about? What is the majority of the time my head is occupied? And it's very simple. From the river of change, if my head is occupied, oh my gosh, there's evil people out there, they're trying to take over the world and they're trying to vaccinate everybody. And I don't care if I'm recorded or not. And therefore they're going to be installing this, and like in living my whole life based on that fear,
Well, that's a different
Or-
issue. Right.
or I'm going to say, Elecha lo yigash. It could be multitude of here and this, and people could go nuts and crazy and wanting to do anything else. I'm connected to my source. And through my connection to my source, which is above anything and everything possible, moreover, that source that actually creating and is being that life force of the whole entire universe, I am connected to the highest of high. Elecha lo yigash. It has nothing to do with you. You should continue thinking what your avoda is. Your avoda is to spread light. That's it. And that's what you should be doing. In whatever your hand reaches. Whether that to spread light inside of you with your hisbonenus into your mind, into your heart, into your family, into your surrounding, to the people who you count into count. That's my avoda. So my avoda is with light. I don't want to deal with darkness. And truly, darkness doesn't even exist. Darkness, what's darkness? Darkness is like a shadow. Darkness, the shadow is the absence of light. So for me, the message, whenever I see a shadow, is to illuminate light and maybe put it on a different angle, to play with the light. When you put the light all the way in the middle, there's no shadows, right? So that's what I should be busy with. And if something appears as a shadow, my question is not how to fight them, but how should I find that light? This light, that's exactly we're talking in this kuntras, right? That has absolutely no obstacles. So that biggest Russia that appears to be as the biggest Russia is nothing. That he's not an obstacle for that light to reveal itself. I have to worry whether my mind and my heart are the Caleb. That's my avodah. This is my small world. That's what I'm going to be busy with. Is my awareness of God is so profound and so situated, deeply situated in my heart and in my mind, because this is what I have control over. I don't have control over what's going on in the world. And why should I even be busy with it? Is that a huge distraction? Oh, yes, for sure, it's a huge distraction. The war in Ukraine, and people sitting and reading the headlines and da-da-da. For me, do you an extra mental rehearsal? Why are you wasting your time? Learn a mimer. I don't know, do a mitzvah. do something, bring in more light, as opposed to living in that fear mentality. Yeah. Okay, Saratova, your time. Dvar Malchus. Let's go.
I'm just going to give you 3 minutes because it was not a simple. This year Rosh Hashanah comes out. It's called Pat Bag Hamelach. Comes out on Monday and Tuesday, Yom Beis and Yom Gimel. So it has everything to do with what the year is going to be about. If anybody's familiar with the pasuk in Daniel, I am not familiar with it. That I guess when Daniel was in, where was he? Persia. He was fed on a daily basis from the king's table. Who knows that one? Anybody? Oh, please tell me. Because I tried to look it up and I could not.
Actually, Daniel, according to one of the versions, is buried in my birth town, Samarkand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a whole legend about it, that when Timur Lenk, right, brought him as a captive, I believe, into Samarkand, and there's a whole story how he passed away, and how they buried him in the place. I actually went to his burial place. My mother used to take me all the time there, and when I last year visited, I went to visit his place, that place as well. Again, according to all those verses, there are 4 places where Daniel is buried, and one of them is in my hometown. And there's a whole fountain of a wellspring opens up right under his burial place. Yeah, and that's seemingly a very healing waters. So it's very interesting. But yeah, he has like a very interesting story, Daniel. And he basically died in captivity. So yeah.
What's the concept of Pat Bag Hamelach? He was fed on a daily basis from the king's table. Pas, right? Pas. He was fed food. He was fed pas. I don't have the sikha in my hand. I can go and get it. But he was fed sustenance, basically. He was fed pas from the king's table on a daily basis. And this has everything to do. Pat Bag is the idea of Beis Gimel. One of the things you see in the Sikha is the Rebbe is inviting us to step into a year in which we are assuming we are being fed on a daily basis from the king's table. So what would that mean practically? What that would mean practically, that I need it, I'm going to get it. I mean, I put on the WhatsApp group today, I suddenly realized I need a better prescription for Rosh Hashanah. It's an awful lot of reading. So I called them and they said, yeah, we don't have any cancellations for today. We have a doctor coming in, but so you'll get the glasses in a couple of weeks, and you can have an appointment next week. And that's why I said, I really need that appointment. Maybe there'll be a cancellation. And I just decided in my head, there's going to be a cancellation because I need it. In other words, if I'm not being fed on a daily basis from the king's table, then all my daily needs from the king's table, who are you to ask for them to have a cancellation? What are you, manipulating nature? But if the Rebbe is telling me you're being fed from the king's table in all your daily needs, the king, you say the king's going to give you what you need or what you ask for or whatever. So it's a huge assumption. And then you ask yourself, with what am I deserving of this? So that's where Pat Bag comes in. Bag is Beis Gimel, right? Meaning Rosh Hashanah comes out on Yom Beis and Yom Gimel. But what's Yom Beis? Monday. Monday's a horrible day. Nobody likes it. It's the day that creates machlaikas, hischalkus, division. On Sunday, Yom Rishon, the first day of creation, Hashem was one, undisputed. Hashem echad u'shmo echad. Amazing. No disputing him. Nothing. Nobody and nothing to dispute him. Yom Beis introduced hischalkus, division, concealment, all the stuff that makes people hate Mondays. And we have, as a people, lived through the concealment like more than anybody. And we know what it looks like, and the darkness and the concealment and all that stuff. And of course, we know obvious, Yom Gimel is Kitayv, because all the things that get in the way of the unity of Hashem and the perfection of Hashem, which is like the Monday stuff, it all comes to somehow the world comes along, you work with the world and you work with it, and you come to Yom Gimel, which is that the world agrees to the oneness of Hashem, which is a lot of work on your part. So that's what we've been doing all through history. Base Gimel, struggling in the darkness of the world and bringing it to a point where now the world is, as Milo is saying, agreeing to Geula. That's Shlishi. Base is concealment. Gimel is the world says no more concealment. Hashem Echad, and we are on board. The world says we are on board. So therefore, with that, we can say, I deserve from the king, because we as a people deserve that the king should feed us from his very own table, the best of the best, whatever we ask for on a daily basis. That's fun. And one other thing, just to finish off, the Rebbe says, it's a more powerful year than even, I think that Rosh Hashanah can never come out on Sunday. It seems so from the Sikha, I guess, I never remember if it was on, it seems to me we would have Shabbos, Sunday, Monday, I guess not. But the shleimus of, there's the shleimus of Rosh Hashanah, if it were to be on Sunday, on Yom Rishon, is, Hashem is undisputed. That's great. But if Rosh Hashanah really starts after that wholeness from Hashem, it's a better wholeness, because when Hashem does the job himself, he does the job himself. What's the big deal? That's Yom Rishon. I'm alone, I'm one, and that's it. One more thing, sorry. As the Mittler Rebbe says, in Shari Yechud Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, is a statement of, it's not only a statement of the unity of Hashem, it brings all elements together. So if you're going to hire a one-man band versus a 10-piece band versus a 100-piece band, it's going to be a different price. The chachma of the 100-piece band is it's supposed to sound like a one-man band. It's supposed to be so the sound is supposed to be so unified that you don't know if it's one person playing or 100 pieces playing. That's the unity of Shema Yisrael. That's the unity that from Yom Beis and Yom Gimel, Hashem makes himself one. That's it. He makes it, everything's perfect. Hashem Echad U'Shema Echad. He says, now you guys get to work. That starts Sunday night, Yom Beis. I'm going to put you in a dark world, and you're going to work at it, and you're going to get the world to agree so that to my oneness, so that the world ends up looking like the sound of 100-piece orchestra that sounds like one orchestra. So anyway, that's the year of Mitzvah Hashem. We should have a year of just perfect unity, Gula Mitzvah Shleiman. It should be immediately now.
Amen.
hear you.
Thank you. That was
Yeah, amen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sarah. So, Saratova suggested that, because it's, an intense mimer that we're going to be learning, if anybody, would be interested to kind of like go over it, like, probably we can do it like a Farbrengen style at a different night, if anybody is willing to. And this way it will be just, more integrative, because part of the whole learning is that we can actually like bounce it off from different perspectives. Obviously when I read and I chew it and I process it through me and I speak, it's one perspective, and each and every one of us, when we do that, that's a different perspective. So I would appreciate if you guys could process it through your own kelim. Obviously, you could get a book, you could get a text. I'll Bezos Hashem upload the scans. I have the hard copies. Just let me know. I'll print out and send it to you. I would appreciate you to process it through your own kelim and share what you have discovered, because that's vital. And the way you guys understand Hasidus, nobody else understands. That's just how it is. It's a fact. And when we share that perspective, when we share how we see things after reading the same thing, and we could just, do that exchange, that collaboration, we're definitely going to move much, much further, because we won't get that experience anywhere. Okay, so anybody wants to share? Anybody wants anything? Again, we can discuss about the day in a group. It's not written in stone. Whichever day we want to get together, just to go over, the things. So,
I have a comment, two things. First of all, it's only one or two of us. We can just catch each other whenever we do, because sometimes it's not easy to have a kvias, and are not so simple to keep. So if it's only one or two of us, we can just say, okay, you available today? Yes, no, that is an idea. If it's a whole group, then, but if it's a couple of us, that's one thing. The other thing is, you said we were going to have in every session 45 minutes on heart monitor, 45 minutes mimer, and 15 minutes of check-in, although not everybody has a heart monitor.
yeah. We do, we need to somehow get that. Listen, we're operating from 2 countries. This is, the time differences and all that.
Right.
But you know what? If we are at the point where we're either not going to do anything, or we're going to do the way we're doing it right now,
Okay, fine.
I'd rather stay, because we're going to gain than if we're not going to do anything, right? This type of work, there isn't much going on out there. And that's why if you feel connected to it, you feel like, yeah, I want to go that derech prat, with the samoichin type of thing. It's good to stay in touch until you really develop a very strong circuitry, like in your mind, and you feel like, yes, I'm confident I could, I don't need that scaffolding, because this is pretty much what this group is providing. This group is providing scaffolding. What's scaffolding? What is a scaffolding? Whenever we build a building, right, they put this metals, you know what I'm talking about, those bars all around. What's the purpose of it? So the building will not fall apart. But once the building is, has a beautiful foundation, has beautiful tall walls, yeah, we could survive. We don't need that, right? It's like when we have these, these young trees, and they have these 2 sticks on 2 sides, and they pull it in different directions, so the tree actually grows straight. That's what scaffolding is. It's something from outside. It's an outside structure that during the growth periods that holds you accountable, so quote, right? That holds you together, that we're getting together once a week. We're talking about our goals, we're talking about our ways, and we're talking about our thoughts, and we're talking about whatever we're talking about, right? That allows us to get that structure. And once we feel, hey, we don't need that anymore, we don't need that, that, what do you call it? That's a balloon, that holds you up for swimming. You already have developed enough muscles, and everything is beautiful, and you're doing amazing. So you then you could just, go ahead. Yeah. Fly out of the nest, fly away. Yeah. So, yeah, that's basically the goal.
I want to ask you about the heart monitor.
Sure.
I wrote on the group that sometimes when I do my heart synchronate, whatever it's called, I find myself yawning a lot. I recognize the yawns that are an energy shift. So I often have a lot of them, which makes me think that it's not just monitoring to see how I'm doing, but there's some level of shifting and a healing going on, which I was surprised. I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Yeah, the monitor will just do monitoring. It's when you connect your awareness with the monitor, right?
Okay.
You see, our thoughts are so powerful. Okay, whenever I'm like doing all kinds of things, is one thing. But when I'm gonna focus on one area of my body, that area is gonna send signals. It's something which is called mind-body connection, right? Well,
Okay.
I used to do a lot of gymnastics when I was, a teenager, and throughout my, early 20s. That's what I did a lot. Now, there is, in gymnastics or in any physical, things that people do, there is something which is called mind-body connection. What is it, by the way? Like, let's say if I'm, just flexing my arm, right? If I'm thinking about Pliny Almani and my situations, whatever the story is, right? And I'm flexing, my muscles are not going to get the same signal as when I'm forgetting about the whole world and I'm in the present moment, and my mind is connected to that muscle and feels how it contracts, meaning pays full attention to this muscle. Okay, now when I do that, then the effect that this muscle is going to produce is 10 times more efficient than when I was absent-minded and just doing like this. Does that make sense? So now what does it teach us? That our body, as Or Choser, responds to our Or Yashar of our mind. Does that make sense? So now, whenever we hook up ourselves into a monitor, right, whatever that is, right, this piece of thing, the monitor is nothing. The monitor is not a healing modality. It's not running any electrolytes throughout our body or anything like that. It just measures. But why am I hooking this into my phone and measuring, right? I have a thought, I have a kavana, and that kavana is now like, oh my gosh, I want to check my heart coherence. And all of a sudden, your heart coherence are becoming put together. All of a sudden, your heart feels like, oh, she's checking on me. She's my CEO. Does that make sense? It's like, I'm like, as a director walking through the classes, people are putting themselves together. Do you know what I mean? Like, they are being
ask you something?
seen right now. Yeah, one second.
I hear. Okay.
Yeah, once they feel that they're being seen right now, they're like, oh, I'm going to produce better. When I walk into a classroom from a teacher, not to threaten anybody, just like, hey, how are you doing? Just checking what's going, how things are. From that moment and on, for those few minutes even, right, they're going to produce different results because they just had the director walk in, right? You might be the best director on earth, but you represent a certain authority. So within ourselves, our mind, right, this is our executive. So when we check in with the parts of our body, in your instance, Saratoga is your heart, you might feel like, and your heart is like, oh, I better do a good job. She's looking at me. She's paying attention to me. Does that make sense? And all of a sudden, that's where the healing results are coming, is that you're getting a response from your heart. Like, oh, she's looking at me. She's paying attention.
Mila, can I ask you something? I
Sure.
hear you. It's amazing. I'm just wondering, like, one of the things that I'm personally supposed to be working on is, and I think a lot of us over 55 working on, like, our bones, strengthening our bones, osteoporosis, whatever. I'm wondering if that could also, like, in my mind, thinking strong bones, build up like bricks building up on a building. Do you think that could have an effect on strengthening the spine? Using imagery of in my mind of wanting those bones to get stronger could perhaps help them to get stronger?
Well, one thing I could tell you
I
is,
wonder if you'd have a physical effect like that, Just your opinion. I know you didn't do any scientific.
I'll tell
research
you
about
what
it,
it
but-
is. For example, what's his name? Joe Dispenza, how he came into this whole situation with these things. And you know, he's a really great guy. I'm telling, like, for a non-Jew to come to this level of awareness, you know, of the healing modalities, it's like, wow. I really respect him a lot. Now, he tells a story how he came to all this. He had a bike incident. I'll try to find the video about it, you know, where he talks about it. You know, you listen for yourself. It's, you know, you'll get a better understanding of, you know, his experience. So anyway, so he broke his spine in a few places. Now, he was laying there. So, and a thought came to his mind. He's like, well, there is a power within my body, right? That's creating things. Like right now, we're not thinking about our digestion, that, you know, the skin needs to grow in this area, that this organ needs to work like that. There's so many subconscious things that are going on, but there is an intelligence there, right? Well, he uses the word intelligence. We know that it's Hashem, right? So he says, you know, there is an intelligence there that's in these, you know, that making things move right now in my body. What if I connect to that intelligence? Okay.
How did he do it?
And ask for healing. Well, he had a lot of time. He's sitting on his belly.
The doctor's prognosis was, you have to tell her what the doctor said was his future.
Right, right. So the doctor said it's going to be screwed up for life.
Vegetable for life.
Right. And what he did is that because it was a chiropractor, he knows, you know, how, you know, a healthy bone looks like. Okay. He knows the picture, right? They make, you know, in school, in medical school, they make you go mashugana, you know, to remember each bone. What's the name of this? What's the name of this bump? What's the name of that bump, right? I don't know if you're aware of it, but all medical workers have to remember it in Latin by heart. So he was basically envisioning how his bones are perfectly healthy. Each one of those broken bones, like probably got a list of where herniated what's broken where, right? He gets images.
But I'm like the wife that doesn't let her husband talk and like says, no, you got the story wrong. He spent several, please excuse me, I'm so sorry. He was lying on he was lying on his stomach, obviously. He had nothing to do all day. And then he decided what you said. He basically spent hours every day reconstructing his bone, building it bone by bone, like vertebrae by vertebrae, one after another. He didn't just envision the broken ones. He just rebuilt the whole thing, a brand new thing.
Right.
Sorry.
And the more he, you know, thank you, sir. So the more he like envisioned how the bones are healing, he literally envisioned that process. So he was able to actually heal by connecting to that power of Hashem within him. That's actually making things grow in his body. Why do you think, like, I mean, there's so many processes that happens in the body that has to be so exact for things to take place. For example, like me talking right now, right? And we could go and, you know, there's a chapter in Tanya that talks about speech, that from the essence of the neshama and all, and, you know, everything what happens in the brain and how, I mean, when we were learning speech as a special ed teacher, I was like, whoa, you know, that's like, you don't understand how many processes we discovered right now in science, that from the thought, from the ratzon, from the desire to say something until it actually comes out of our mouth. So many things supposed to take place. There are so many muscles that needs to adjust to make a specific sound. And we blah, 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 talking about it and speaking it without even becoming aware of it. And you know what? We're not meant to be aware of it. Because if we're going to be aware of every single function of our body, we're just going to be frozen. Because we couldn't walk, we couldn't do anything, right? Hashem just made it that way, that we're not aware of these things. Now, but at the same time, when we become aware of this, we could connect to the power of Hashem within us that makes this thing happen, right?
I'm going to interject again. He said that he said that in the first few weeks, he would spend hours every day reconstructing the spine in his mind. If he would have a negative thought, he would be knocked off and he would have to start all over again. He said it was torture for weeks because it was so hard.
Sarah,
Yeah.
stop it now. Okay.
Okay.
Was
all
it? Okay, I mean, no, we just got there.
right.
I'm answering your question.
Okay,
Was
fine.
it, what was more comfortable for him? Would it be more comfortable for him just to be a victim, lay there and like, oh, I don't care, whatever happened to me, I'm just gonna be bound to bed my whole entire life, right? Or him fighting against all odds in his mind and
Okay.
keeping that vision of healing going. That's him going out of his comfort zone. Because it was much more comfortable for him to feel pity about himself, of himself, and be a victim and lay there and life is over. It was
Right.
much more comfortable for him to do
Right.
it than sitting and meditating for hours and envisioning his bones getting healed.
Right.
Okay.
Anyway, one second. He
that's
said
it.
after several weeks, it started to get easier. It was fewer hours to do it because he got used to it as fewer hours to do it. After 12 weeks from the accident, he walked out of the hospital. And he walked out. He's like a 100% regular person, travels around the world, etc., does workshops. He walked out on his feet and went home after 12 weeks.
Incredible. What a story. Wow.
Yeah.
And there's a video of this? There's a YouTube of this?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
is. I'll try to find it and post it there. So yeah, back to your question,
Thank you.
100%. If whatever chalishus a Jew might have, there's a scientific proof. I mean, live alone scientific proof. It's begashmias, right? What do you mean? The way Hashem created and says in the Torah, like, that's, just trust in me, right? And behave in a way as if you already healed, and that's through which the healing will be coming, right? I shared that letter from the Rebbe that, the Rebbe specifically mentions this process about the health.
Can I say one
Right.
more thing?
Thank you.
Sure.
Can I say one more thing? And there's also a deeper dimension to that, in a deeper methodology of healing for us, which is based on the idea that if in truth the world is being created every single second, yesh me'ayin, which we know it is, then let's say if a person has, fragile bones, the bones of yesterday no longer exist. The bones of 5 minutes ago that the person called fragile, they're gone. Right now, those bones are being created yesh me'ayin. So what Avaita we would have to do, I don't know, to say, Hashem, you're anyway making a brand new person. You're giving me new bones, make them strong. So I'm not, I know the theory. I'm not quite sure what we would, have to step into. Essentially, we're saying when we step into experiencing that the world is being created at every moment, it changes everything. How to step into that, I don't know. But I know that when we do, then remember a second ago, I said, when we do, that person isn't here anymore. Remember when I said that person isn't here anymore? That person isn't here anymore.
So now we become partners. We're partners with Hashem. In other words, partner with Hashem in this creation.
Right.
100%. That's what it is about co-creation. And that co-creation happens not on the level of nefesh, ruach, and neshama. That happens on the atzmius of the yechida. That's co-creation. When we are partners. We are together. Right? That's what it's called, yechida. It's yochid. Meaning you see only God and God sees only you on that level. There's nobody else there.
So that's why, going back to the Devar Malchus, that idea of Pat Bag HaMelech, the Rosh Hashanah is on Yom Beis and Gimel, that we're eating from the king's table. When you're at the king's table, like I bought a chair this week from Home Depot, and I said, I don't care, I'm gonna get it delivered for $8, right? Now the king doesn't even think twice. He's like, hey, have it delivered. I'm gonna schlep there with my car and put it on the hood and the top of the car, make myself a sugar. The king just does first class. So what am I gonna make myself great? So if I'm eating from the king's table, what am I gonna stress myself out? Deliver the chair or ask for the top. You know what I'm saying? In theory, again, I don't know, I can't tell you I know how to do this, but I know all the theory of this year eating from the king's table means the king says, listen, I have a checkbook like carte blanche. You don't have to worry when you ask for stuff about how much it costs. Like Mila, once he said, like, we have a corporate account for blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Right? You don't have to worry. I don't pay, remember the old days when you paid for every single minute on the phone? Like in the real old days, I used to ask people, is it okay? Can I make a phone call? I was so upset, so scared. And then when you pay by the minute with the cell phone, it was terrifying, right? Like, I don't know, maybe I talked too long. Now like, everything's unlimited. So the king says, ask for what you want. It's the same price. I have a corporate account. I have a corporate account.
But you know what you just 100%, but what you just said, how to do it. If you can't see yourself doing it, every single action, what you mean by sitting by the king's table, whatever that means to you, you just mentioned a few things like this, like that. That's the mental rehearsal. That's when you're in your mind rehearsing, living by that standard. And the more you do that, the more you will be living by that standard. Not just in a wishful thinking, oh, one day it's going to be like that. It's happening. You know what? It may not manifest, it's happening bagashmias yet, but it's happening in my moach hagashmi.
So I think I'm just, a little tool is being sent to me as we're talking, which is, let's say somebody's saying, they want their bones to be stronger, let's say, or whatever. So really at the moment when you think about it, at that moment, you picture yourself going in front of the Rebbe and you say to the Rebbe, it's important for me to have this, I'm asking the Rebbe for, and the Rebbe says, bracha v'atzlacha, and you feel like, wow, he's looking right through you, and zoom. When you do that as many times a day as you need, that all the things that you feel that you want and you need, you say to the Rebbe, and you see yourself going to the Rebbe, and he says, bracha v'atzlacha.
Okay, but after that, there's a stage after that, Sarah. When the Rebbe said bracha v'atzlacha, you actually do the things, okay, that you don't, that whatever that manifests. For example, we're going back to those fragile bones, right?
Right.
Like how a person knows that he has fragile bones.
Somebody told
I don't
him.
know. Someone told him. Like amazing. Okay, somebody told him. Okay, so then they're gonna envision themselves sitting in a doctor's office, and the doctor doing those scans. I don't know how they would know, how doctor would know. And the doctor is saying, Pliny Almighty, you no longer have fragile bones. Mazel tov. This is a miracle. Okay. Another scenario is that the person is, rollerblading, he's falling, and no ramifications of this fall, right? That's how concrete you get. Let's say somebody is poor, he doesn't have money, to go and spend whatever he wants to spend, but he really needs that in order to feel that he's eating from the Shulchan HaMelech, right? So he envisions himself that he gets what he wants and how everybody's going to be happy in his family. He's going to get a house, he's going to get a nice clothing for his wife, whatever in his mind. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's very important to actually envision yourself, like literally vision yourself living the life that you want. Now that could have different implications. That's just the general formula. Whatever a person is feeling chisaron, a lack. That's how you undo. That's the whole purpose of mental rehearsal. So just we're getting that practical. We don't live it just by going through by the Rebbe and Rebbe saying bracha v'atzlacha. Because as we know, Rebbe said to many people bracha v'atzlacha, but that bracha didn't manifest. for whatever reason, right? Remember these two ladies who wanted a child, and each one of them, and one went and got, you know, the stroller, and the other one didn't, right? One actually saw it being manifested. She had no doubt that it's manifesting, not only in his mind and in her heart, but she actually saw herself worthy of it and already envisioned herself how she's going to stroll a baby. That's what brought her the bracha. That Kaylee's in the mind, Kaylee's in our vision, that we actually envision ourselves having that bracha that we want. And that could be also in a relationship with God, you know, having that relationship with God, which we envision. I don't know, somebody wants to be a Navi. Okay, envision you talking to God. I don't know what it is. You know, like you could, it doesn't have to be always, but you know, a gashmistic thing. It also could be a spiritual thing. You learning Torah and understanding it. You know, you communicating with God. No, nobody wants this type of desires. Nobody has. I hope I'm not the only widow.
It's just, it's not so simple, it's not so tangible to envision.
Talking to God.
Okay.
Who was it? Who was it? Which was in the film? I think it was Shmuel Hanavi, right? When he was little, all of a sudden he heard a voice, right? I think it's brought down, and he was like, "Oh, what's going on? Which voice is this?" And I think Ellie told him, "Like, no, don't worry. It's Hashem is talking to you."
Okay.
So you can envision, like, you hear something, like, "Oh, what is going on?" And the Rebbe is like, "Don't worry. It's Hashem is talking to you."
Well, that's why when you wake up in the morning, you usually have messages from Hashem, unless you're very busy and you don't have time to pay attention to them. But if you're, you know, if you have a little more space, you always get messages from Hashem. You know, before you say, right? Etzma Nefesh is there powerfully before you say Maida'ani. That's how you know, you know.
I have to pay attention to that. I usually like jump out of.
I see.
I woke up late.
I see. Right.
Okay, beautiful, ladies. Siva v'chasima toiva.
Well, what's our next plan?
Lashana toiva masuka. Now we're pretty much going to be working on a group, and our next meeting will be after the Tishrei, because it is very hectic, you know, between this and that. I'm not even sure. Maybe we could just vote for Aseres Yimei Tshuva, but it's, you know, with Yom Kippur in the middle. I think Yom Kippur is there, right? It's
Wednesday night,
Yeah.
right. So it's, you know, it's kind of tough. Yeah. And then it's
Well,
going to be
Tuesday night and Wednesday is Yom Kippur. We're not going to meet Wednesday night
exactly.
after Yom Kippur. So,
No.
right.
So after Tishrei, B'ezrat Hashem. But again, let's stay in touch in the group.
Yeah,
Let's be
let's be in
active in a
touch.
group. Yeah, let's be
Excellent.
active. Post every day when you did your mental rehearsals. Believe me, it creates that, like, you know, that link.
Yes, it really does help. It's true. Makes me more reality, you know, accountable.
Yeah, and
Thank
also
you.
connected. I think it's more
Yes,
connected than
connected.
accountable.
That's the word. More accountable and connected. That's right. Yeah, thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you.
Beautiful.
One second,
That's
we really have
lovely.
to post. We really have
So
to post 2
inspiring.
times. By the way, if I get it, I don't know if the company's actually sending me a whole new device, because it's just one piece, isn't it, Mila?
Yeah, it's one piece.
So that means I'm going to have 2 devices. So someone else is welcome to use, you know, I found the rubber piece, so you can fix it.
Oh yeah, that's great. I mean, we'll see if somebody needs, we could, you know, we
Right,
could post
yeah.
in a group. But it's really beautiful. Sarah, I'm telling you, your heart listens to you. It's unbelievable. You know how many times I had where, I was just like, okay, can we do 6 today? And yeah, and like my heart coherence would just jump up to 6. It's like, it's incredible to see how your body responds. It's beautiful.
Sorry, I guess I missed all the parts where I only know how to turn the thing on and turn it off. I don't know what everything means. I mean, we could do it sometime more, I guess, when I have nothing else to do, right? I could kind of look around on the website and see what it's all about and how it works and all. It obviously has.
I could do a little short video. That's, I think, what I'm going to do. Bezrat Hashem, by tomorrow, I'm going to share with you the new mental rehearsal that I did, a longer one, a longer version. That's more, goes a little bit more into depth. Again, not much longer. It's going to be like an additional 8 minutes. So
Could you
I
have
just,
it be in written form too?
oh, for sure. It's already in a written form on a thingy.
Okay.
Yeah, so the written form is there. It's just that people, kind of didn't like that whole wave situation. And
Wave?
I accidentally, yeah, if you listen to the long mental rehearsal, it has like those waves,
Oh.
like a beach sounds. And
Right.
sometimes just people get distracted. So I decided I'm just going to do it plain without that beach sound. And if you want to listen to some kind of music, you could always put that in the background, whatever music you like. So it's not that that crazy. Yeah, let's say there. All right. Sima table, ladies.
Simut Tova should be a sweet, luminous, healthy, happy year,
Amen.
expansive,
Amen.
expansive, grounding, connecting. We should feel a deep sense of connection to all Yidden and to Hashem, and feel intensely protected and safe.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
We should really feel intensely protected and safe and immune to all of the machinations of the used to be evil, but now they seem to be okay guys, according to you, people.
Right. Amen.
fake-
Thank you.
The ones who are faking the old style. And even though they're trying so hard to make us scared, we should feel such a deep sense. I guess we should tune into the etzem and nefesh, the place at which none of that stuff, no, the economy doesn't collapse on the level of etzem and nefesh, and you don't have to buy gold, and you don't have to take your money out of the bank, and you don't have to worry about food shortage, and you don't have to worry about all that stuff. You don't have to worry about the kids and the jab and all that other stuff, because on the level of atzmus, it never, right? So we should feel that deep sense of safety and immunity from all the silliness, and just blow it off and realize. And I'll end with this. Rabbi Majeski once said, remember what the Al Chimoni says, that the whole world is running around insane because they're terrified, which is the situation now. And they say, where should we go and what should we do? Like, no more food, no, we won't have food, we won't have money, we won't have gasoline, we won't blah, blah, blah. And Hashem says, oh no, guys, don't worry. That's for them, it's not for you. Everything I did with this insanity and this fear stuff is for you to realize that you're stepping into the geula. So if banks and food and shortage and gasoline, that's for them, it's not for you. For you, Higia Zman Gulastam. Don't take it seriously, it's a backdrop. So that's what I'm just repeating what he said. He didn't quite say it in those words. So amen, we should step into that sense of deep protection and deep security and safety, and deep unity with Hashem in a sweet way.
Amen. 100%. Yeah, we should, mamash, not, that's what it is. I feel that there's a narrative that we really need to be clear about other people's narratives.
Yeah. Right. When people are calling you up, take your money out of the bank right now, like my $300, like whatever, like enough, I can't anymore. Right. So we have to feel like that's their story. It's not the story of etzem and nefesh of a yid who's one with atzmas. Okay. Fine.
Right. So, yeah, it's basically the narrative, right? We want to keep that narrative, the original version of it,
Which is,
which
He
is
gives
what the Rebbe
Magdala-
says. That's
gives
the,
Magdala-
I think, what is the true reality? It's what the Rebbe says in Tafshin and Aleph, Tafshin and Beis. That's what true reality. And that was 30 years ago. So how
Right.
much more so? What do you mean? Like, you cannot be a little pregnant, right? With every day, you are becoming more and more and more and more and closer and closer. So I feel that the whole Geula process is like pregnancy. So if the Rebbe said something 30 years ago, it's how much more so now.
right.
So that has like this amplifying effect. It's not less now, it's even more than what the Rebbe said. If the Rebbe said something back then, now it's even more. So yeah, that's the narrative. That's Geula. He gives Malgulastim, and Geula is unfolding right here, right now, through us. And all the rest, it's like, I don't know what it is. Okay, it's like a foreign, it's like Esher Zara. To me,
God in
everything
God in a
beyond that.
costume. Purim costume. God in a costume.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I don't have to embrace that narrative. Okay, it's somebody else's narrative. It's out there. What's narrative? It's like my vision, what I think, I create that bubble and I throw it out. Who takes it as a reality? That becomes the bubble. Does it have to be my bubble? No. And if, there are many bubbles coming our way, but why are we getting entertained by that? That's other people's visions. Okay, people have the limitations. People didn't read Tafshin and Aleph, Tafshin and Beis Sichos. They have no idea what's flying. They believe into all these things. Okay, but who said that that's what we as Hasidim should be holding on to as reality? Just because one doctor said this so and so, and one politician said so and so, and my next door neighbor said so and so. I guess that's where Kuntrasei Spilus, right, comes in, not to be misspoiled from all the things. Beseder. Yesher koach, ladies. And again, let's just stay connected. This month, I think we should encourage more and more this work, because truly, this is the time that's truly affects the whole year, right? And the Melech is still besode, and he's Be'ezus Hashem taking us to the palace.
Okay.
Beseder, all the best.
Lieve Gesina Teva.
Good.